Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to put on our detective hats and investigate a classic mystery from the world of electronics. We've got a pretty tangled case on our hands, but you know what? With the right clues and just a little bit of logic, we're going to crack this thing wide open.
Seriously, think about that for a second. Some puzzles, some systems, they're so interconnected that you can't just, start at A and work your way to Z. And complex electrical circuits, they are exactly like that. They're this web of pathways, and figuring them out takes a special kind of thinking.
So first, let's go ahead and examine the scene of the crime. Let's call it the circuit conundrum. We really need to understand why some of these electrical puzzles are just so tricky to solve in the first place.
Okay, so for a lot of simple circuits, a basic tool like Ohm's law is all you really need. But when you get circuits with multiple power sources or loops that intersect, it's kind of like trying to navigate a whole city with a map that only shows one single street. It just doesn't work. It's not enough.
And here it is. This is our case file. We've got a circuit with 2 loops, a bunch of resistors, and a power source. I know, it looks complicated, right? But our mission, should we choose to accept it, is clear. We have to find out exactly how much electrical current is flowing through every single part of this system.
So, how in the world do we tackle this? Well, we need a detective's toolkit. And for circuit analysis, that toolkit comes from a physicist named Gustav Kirchhoff. He came up with two, beautifully simple golden rules that can untangle any circuit, no matter how complex it looks.
Okay, rule number 1 is the junction rule. And this one is so intuitive. Just picture a crossroads with cars, or maybe where 2 rivers meet. All the water that flows into that meeting point has to flow back out, right? It can't just vanish. Well, the exact same thing is true for electrical current at any junction in a circuit. What goes in must come out. Simple as that.
And the second rule is the loop rule. For this one, think of a roller coaster. You get pulled up that huge first hill. That's your big energy gain from the power source. Then you go through all the twists, turns, and drops. That's your energy being spent or lost through the resistors. But when that ride is over, you always end up right back where you started, at the same height. In a circuit, any complete round trip or loop has to end up with a net energy change of, you guessed it, 0.
So let's just put these two side by side for a second. You've got the current law, which is all about the flow of charge at those intersections. And then you have the voltage law, which is all about the push of energy around a complete round trip. One's about the crossroads, the other's about the journey. And believe it or not, together, they give us everything we need.
All right, detective, we have our rules, we have our case file. It's time to put on the gloves, apply a little logic, and solve this puzzle once and for all.
And to do this, we're going to follow a really simple 3-step method. First, we'll map out our suspects. Those are the unknown currents. Second, we'll use that junction rule to see how they're all related. And third, we'll use the loop rule to build our final case. Let's do it.
Step 1. Map the currents. We don't know what their values are yet, so just like a detective, we give them code names. We're going to call the current in the left loop I1 and the current in the right loop I2. These are our 2 main unknowns, our persons of interest.
Step 2. Let's apply the junction rule. Okay, look at that point where the loops meet. We've got current I1 flowing in from the left. Some of it, which we're calling I2, keeps going and flows out to the right. So, the rest of it must have gone somewhere, right? It had to flow down that middle path. So the current in the middle, I3, is just the difference, I1 minus I2. And just like that, we've used one rule to simplify the mystery. It's already getting clearer.
And now for the final step, applying the loop rule. We trace the path of that left loop, our first roller coaster ride, and that gives us our first equation. Then we trace the right loop to get our second equation. The result is the key to this whole mystery. We now have 2 equations and only 2 unknowns, I1 and I2. You see, from here, it's not even a circuit problem anymore. It's a straightforward algebra problem. We have everything we need to solve the case.
So we solved our puzzle, case closed. But why does cracking one little circuit diagram actually matter? Well, because these 2 rules, it turns out, aren't just for textbook problems. They're basically the fundamental language spoken by all of modern electronics.
Think about it. Every single time you use your smartphone, you are holding a device with literally billions of junctions and loops, all perfectly obeying Kirchhoff's laws. The incredibly complex battery systems inside electric cars, the satellites orbiting Earth that give us GPS, the massive power grids that light up our cities, even the electrical systems on the International Space Station. All of it is designed and analyzed using these 2 basic, foundational principles.
It really all comes back to this. A profoundly simple observation about flow, that what goes in
must come out. That's not just a rule for electricity. It's this fundamental principle of conservation that when you apply it to circuits, literally powers the complex technological world we all live in today. It's kind of amazing.
And that leaves us with